You sit there, staring at the screen, waiting for those three little dots to dance. But they don't. There's no reply, just stillness. You tell yourself it's fine, maybe she's busy, maybe she didn't see it. But deep down, something starts to churn. 10 minutes pass, then 30, then an hour, still nothing. You check your phone again, swipe down to refresh, still no notification. It's a quiet kind of pain, the type that doesn't scream, just lingers. And before you know it, the silence has a voice. It starts whispering lies into your ear. You messed up, she's moved on, weren't enough. This is where the spiral begins. Not because of what she did, but because of what you're afraid it means. You start overanalyzing your last message, your tone, your timing. You replay conversations like they're scenes in a movie, searching for the mistake you think you made. But the truth is, her silence isn't your failure. It's just a moment, a neutral moment, the meaning you've assigned to it. That's the real weight you're carrying. That weight didn't come from her. It came from within you. You're not just reacting to the silence. You're reacting to old wounds. Maybe this isn't about her at all. Maybe it's about that feeling of being unseen, unchosen, overlooked. And that's why it stings so deep. But here's where the shift begins. This isn't the time to beg, or panic, or explain yourself. It's the time to stop, breathe, reflect. Because a man who chases silence never finds peace. But a man who meets silence with stillness, he finds himself. And the moment you stop trying to control what she's thinking and start understanding what you need to feel whole again, that's when you stop spiraling. That's when you start rising. Asterisk, you might think you're playing it cool. Just one message, no double texts, no long paragraphs. But what you're not seeing is that it's not about how much you say, it's about what your energy is saying underneath. And she feels that. Women have this ability to pick up on emotional tension in ways men often miss. You could say all the right things, keep your messages short and spaced out. But if the energy behind them is anxious, if you're secretly hoping she'll reply, just so you can feel better about yourself, she'll pick up on that. It doesn't matter how chill your words or your need is loud. Desperation doesn't always look like begging. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's in the pause you take after hitting send, holding your breath, waiting. It's in the way. Your mood dips when she doesn't reply. It's in how often you check your phone. That's the energy she feels, not the message, but the pull, the emotional weight. And nothing repels feminine energy like a man who has lost his center. Because when a woman senses that you've made her the source of your peace, she begins to retreat. Not out of cruelty, but because something about it feels off, like it's too much responsibility, too much pressure. This is why presence matters more than performance. You don't need to act like you don't care. You just need to get to a place where her silence doesn't shake your sense of self, where your peace isn't hanging on whether she texts back. That kind of emotional steadiness, that's rare. That's what draws her in. Because now you're not trying to convince her of your value. You're being it. Calm, rooted, solid, and that kind of man doesn't chase energy. He becomes the kind of energy that people naturally want to move toward. Asterisk, you keep wondering why her silence hits you so hard, why it feels like a punch to the chest. It's not just because she's quiet, it's because somewhere along the line you made her response mean something about your worth. Every time you stare at the screen hoping for a message, every time you check if she's online, every time your mood shifts based on her reply or a lack of one way, you're giving her control over your emotional state. And that control, something you were never supposed to hand over in the first place. You've been tying your self-worth to her validation, believing that if she responds, you're valuable, and if she pulls away, you've somehow failed. That mindset is dangerous, because it puts your entire sense of identity in someone else's hands, someone who may not even fully know or appreciate who you are. And the more you seek her approval, the more disconnected you become from your own. That's why it hurts. Not because of her silence, but because of what you've let it represent. But here's where everything shifts. When you decide that your opinion of yourself matters more than hers, when you start asking, what do I think of me, instead of what does she think of me, you begin to reclaim something powerful. You stop moving like a man desperate to be chosen, and you start building a life that you would choose. You stop performing and you start becoming. This is your moment to flip the script. Stop trying to impress someone else. Start creating a life that impresses you. Because when you respect yourself, you don't chase people, you attract them. And when her approval is no longer the source of your self-esteem, her silence becomes just that silence. Nothing more. Nothing less. Asterisk, the silence isn't just quiet, it's heavy. It follows you around like a shadow. You check your phone without thinking, rereading her last message, replaying your own in your head. Maybe if you had said it differently. Maybe if you hadn't waited so long. Maybe if you hadn't shown too much. Or not enough. It's like your energy is leaking all over the place. Not in loud outbursts, but in quiet obsession. What you don't realize is that every second spent in that mental loop is energy pulled away from your life, your purpose, your growth, your peace. That kind of emotional leakage adds up. You're tired, distracted, off-center. You find it hard to focus. Your workouts suffer. Your creativity dries up. You feel stuck. But the truth is, you've been pouring your energy into a space that's giving you nothing in return. It doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. But now that you're aware of it, it's on you to do something about it. This is where you take your energy back. Every ounce of thought you gave her, give to yourself now. Shift your focus, not in some forced, fake it till you make it way, but in a conscious, disciplined way. Go to the gym not to impress her, but to rebuild yourself. Dive into your work, your craft, your passion. Reignite the fire that made you you before she ever entered the picture. You can't control whether she answers or not, but you can control how you respond to the space she left. And here's the truth. When your energy is no longer scattered, when it's directed with purpose, everything changes. You stop feeling drained. You start feeling dangerous again. Not to her, but to the version of yourself that was once content with waiting. That man is gone. One rises. Asterisk, letting go isn't easy, especially when your heart was all in. When you believed in the connection, when part of you still clings to the idea that maybe, just maybe, she come back. So you wait. You hold on to hope like it's a rope that might pull you back to what once was. But what if that hope is actually holding you back? The pain you're feeling isn't just from her silence. It's from the weight of the story you built around it. Maybe you thought if you waited long enough she'd realize what she lost. Maybe you believed that the right message would change her mind. Maybe you hoped that showing how much you care would make her stay. But the longer you hold on to outcomes you can't control, the more power you give to things outside of you. That's not love. It's captivity. Letting go doesn't mean you stopped caring. It means you've stopped attaching your peace to someone else's presence. It means you've accepted what is without needing to force what isn't. And when you do that, when you finally surrender the outcome, you unlock a new kind of freedom. You stop reacting, stop waiting, stop shrinking. You start living again. You start building momentum that has nothing to do with whether she responds. You begin moving like a man who trusts himself more than he needs someone else to reassure him. That's what makes you untouchable, not your silence, but your stability. Not your pride, but your power. Because when you stop waiting, you start rising. And when you rise without needing her to notice, that's when the world begins to notice you.